Hello, whiskey lovers, and welcome to another one of Mark's Whiskey Ramblings. Today, Irish whiskey, Ardara. I'm not sure if you've heard from them, but Ardara is part of Sleeve League Distillers. Now, I know when you see it written like that, you'll be like, how should I pronounce this? It's quite easy once you've heard it. It's Sleeve League. There you have it. Sleeve League Distillers is in Donegal in Ireland, and they are, well, they might be known to you because they also produce the silky whiskies, and then they also have the Unsullivan gin. But now they've released, well, at the end of 2025, halfway 2025, they released their first single malt, heavily peated Ardrah. That's how you pronounce it, Ardrah. Now we have here the 2025 edition at drinking strength. This is 46%. And then we also have a cask strength version, which is at 58.5% ABV. And those two we will be put head to head. Now, I don't have to open these beautiful bottles, which I got on loan from a friend, but I have a sample of the cask strength version. Let me quickly pour that in there so it can already breathe a little bit. And on the other hand, I don't have to open this one either because, well, I actually got me one of these. Let's give this one a go. It's a beautiful bottle, to be honest. Let's face it, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but if you have a beautiful bottle, that is an eye catcher on the shelf. And if you're a new brand, then obviously you want to catch the eye of the beholder, of the whiskey lover who does his shopping. It looks quite nice, right? So these two. Now, there's something special about Ardara, apart from the fact that it's heavily peated at 55 ppm. There's also a special way of creating this whiskey because, well, the owner, James Doherty. He inherited this method from his great grandfather or something like that, who was a notorious illicit distiller by the name of Frank Carr. What he does is he uses the all grain in principle. What does that mean? It's even mentioned on the label, all grain in. It means they do not use a mash tun. They actually use a conversion vessel, and then they put the whole grain into the wash still, and they distill the whole grain. In their opinion, they are capturing much more flavor that way. And now, after that, the new make goes into a solera vat. So before it goes into a cask, they capture the new make in a large 600 liter, or is it 6,000? 6,000 liter solera vat. And that solera vat can only be emptied until 1,200 liters. So hence solera. You know, this is from the sherry industry where you raise sherry that way. Oh, and I mustn't forget, it's triple distilled. It's triple distilled like most good whiskies are. Triple distilled because they use an intermediate still at Ardara as well. Well, there you have it. That's a bit of a history, a bit of a technical mumbo jumbo. It's all fairly new, and I'm not very knowledgeable about Ardara just yet. But this is as good a day as any to find out. I want to put these head to head. We will start with the drinking strength version for obvious reasons, and then we'll move on to the cask strength version. Both of them are very young in age. This is presumably 3, 4, 5 years old. Won't be much older because they have not been around that long. So we'll start with the Ardara 2025 edition, which is bottled at a 46% ABV, the heavily peated Ardara single malt on the nose. Well, that's quite unusual, to be honest. It's clearly very young, but I get modeling clay, finger paint, pencil eraser, some ashes, and I kid you not, rubber trucks stacked up at a garage or something, at a recycling center. It's very rubbery, to be honest. A bit smoky, yes, definitely. Pleasant, the jury's out on that one, to be honest. There's hardly any fruit in there at this time. I get some gooseberry jam in the background, maybe. And it does have a fairly new makey touch to it as well. Interesting on the palate. quite rubbery as well. Smoke and rubber on the palate. I feel like I'm chewing on a bicycle tire. But then on a bed of hay and some green wood. It's very young. It's clearly very young, but that doesn't have to be a problem, of course. And also the modest ABV is quite enjoyable in this case. I don't mind at all. I do get some gooseberry and kiwi now, but still, I still think it's rather rough. It still needs some time, in my opinion, on the finish. That finish is very long, particularly smoky and increasingly sweet, but the rubber note lingers, and I have to be honest, I'm struggling a little bit with that. I like a peaty whiskey as much as the next man, but this is more rubbery than peaty in my opinion, and I'm not sure I'm stuck in the middle. I think this single malt, while very interesting, it's got a unique character. That's the least you can say of this Ardara single malt, is that it might attract as many people as it will repel. And me, myself, I'm in the middle. The jury's out on it. And to be honest, 70 euros is not a very cheap bottle for this young single malt. Moving on to the cask strength version then, which is slightly darker in color, as you can see. And so the ABV is much higher because this is at 58.5% ABV. So let's see if this is any good on the nose. Well, the clear notes of rubber are still there, but they're not dominant in this case. In this case, I get blueberries, I get some stewed pears. I get a hint of kiwi in there as well, sprinkled with a little bit of nutmeg. I get a hint of marzipan. I also get some marjoram. So this is actually quite pleasant. Right, on the palate. This too, tastes very young. It cannot hide its young age. It's got these new makey things in there as well. And after the initial punch from the alcohol, I do get some beautiful notes of dark sweet fruit, like some sultanas. There's some pink grapefruit in there as well that adds a little bit of a sweet, sour, bittery note. It's much more layered than the drinking version. The drinking version, they're all drink. You know what I mean? The drinking strength version. It's not even a word. I just, it's much more layered. I wouldn't call it complex because it's still quite young and rough, but it's got more to it. It's got more. I appreciate this one more than I do this one, to be honest. Right. I even get some cocoa now and some liqueur in there as well on the finish. That finish is particularly long, quite smoky, and something like licorice at the death. Well, interesting whiskies, both of them. Both of them, the potential is clear. This will undoubtedly attract a following. People who love Irish whiskey, and especially people who love peaty Irish whiskey, and there's not too many around, they will certainly be attracted to this. But to the neutral whiskey lover, I think this might still be a little bit too rough and too young. And let's not forget that this one is 125 euros, which in my opinion, is a bit steep for what you get. Having said that, the potential is there. All in all, this is an interesting, quite unique, new Irish single malt, but a little bit too young and a little bit too rough at this point in time. And that's all for this Whiskey Rambling, and I hope to see you at one of Mark's Whiskey Ramblings real soon. And until then, may the malt be with you. Bye-bye.